And now, the moment we all been waiting for. Please give a huge Malaysia welcome and Selamat Datang to the Marvel legend himself, Mr. Bob Layton. Alright, in Malaysia, in Bahasa Melayu, we call welcome in actually Selamat Datang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think Selamat Datang, Bob.
And what does that translate to?
Welcome. Welcome to Malaysia.
Literally, okay.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay.
So Bob, you are the writer, artist and editor who redefined Iron Man. Co-creator story for Iron Man as well.
Yes.
And co-founded VALIANT Comics.
I did.
Yes. Honestly, without him, the MCU as we know it might not be exist. Yeah? So let's give him another big round of applause. So what do you think, Bob? First time in KL?
Well, I think everybody keeps trying to feed me. You know, Malaysian people are absolutely the most hospitable people in the world. Yeah, you guys have been absolutely wonderful since I've been here. Except, quit trying to force food down me. I mean, it's like, do I look skinny to you or something? I mean, oh my God. But no, it's been wonderful so far. I mean, granted, I haven't been here very long, about 36 hours, but it's been fantastic. I've looked forward to this a long time. This is part of my around the world trip that I started 2 years ago. I left America and lived in various countries all through Europe, and now I'm exploring Asia. You know, I was just in Singapore with my friend Alan just 3 months ago, and he helped arrange this trip to Malaysia. So, and I have other countries that I'm looking forward to visit as well, but already I feel totally at home here.
Issue 128, I love the cover where Tony Stark is, facing the mirror.
Yeah.
The 128
Demon in a
issue.
bottle. Yes.
Yeah, Demon in a Bottle. So, it's a landmark story for all the comic fans because,
According to Wikipedia, it's the only comic book story that people know by its title. Yeah, that normal people in the real world actually have heard of it, which is, again, it's 45 years later. Marvel just reprinted it again for like the 800th time or whatever. It seems to resonate, and I think it's because it was a genuine story, something that came from real life experience and whatever. And it was a groundbreaking thing where we had a chance to actually say something about this character and about the issue of substance abuse.
So I really like the way you take the story because usually in superhero movies or superhero comic, they will show that superhero is strong against everything. But in that issue, you show that Tony Stark is a human in the end. He has flaws as well. Yeah, I really love
that. Was our mandate. I mean, when I inherited Iron Man, I as a kid, I grew up hating the book. I thought it was just awful, and just never, to me, it's not about the armor, it's about the guy inside. And I just said, Tony Stark should be a rock star. I mean, when he walks into a room, people should lose their mind, it's like crazy,
Yeah.
The Iron Man thing is part of it, but it was a trope where in comics Batman is a millionaire or Green Arrow's a millionaire or whatever, because that way you can afford to buy all the toys and go out and be that. In the case of Tony Stark, I said it's got to be different. That's his world. That's a corporate world. So David and I tried to create a corporate world when we came on and reinvented the story. And part of that was they had always given him the heart problem. But even in the movies, they fixed the heart problem by the third one, right? It's like, in this day and age, even in the 70s, late 70s, heart transplants were commonplace. So, you tell me the smartest guy in the world couldn't fix his own heart? It just never made much sense to me. And so we wanted to, since we were creating a corporate universe, we wanted to create that sword of Damocles that was hanging over Tony's head too. And I always pictured him like King Arthur. King Arthur was the ruler of Camelot, but at the same time horribly self-destructive. I mean, yes, he did all these wonderful things that made England like the shining moment in England, but at a huge price of his own personal life. So I really tried to bring some reality to that without getting too dark.
Yeah.
But Robert Downey, again, that was part of the thing that attracted him to the character was those are his favorite issues, and we talked about it many a time when we were sitting alone just chatting, right? So that's why they even did a little tribute to it in Iron Man 2. Yeah.
The one that you said that they show in the Iron Man 2, it really connects with the Demon in the Bottle, because when they show Tony Stark being in a panic attack mode, that's him being human.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I talked to Favreau when I was on the set, and and he says, "You're probably disappointed that we're not adapting Demon in a Bottle." I said, "Well, yeah, most fans want to know if they're going to do that because it's the most famous Iron Man story." And he said, "Yeah, but Marvel Studios, their take on everything was to keep things relatively lighthearted, and they felt it was just way too dark for them to do. But they did add a scene where Downey could act out like 128. He wanted to do something like that because that was so important to him. I got to tell you, one of the craziest moments ever is when I first got on the set of Iron Man 2, and because I didn't meet them in the first movie because I worked on post production. I came out to do the special features thing and work in post, so I never actually got to meet them. I met reps of them, but I didn't meet them until I got to Iron Man 2, right? So I go walk onto the set. We were shooting the Mount Monaco scene in Long Beach, and the security, Barry Curtis, who's still the head of security, walks me over to Video Village where everybody's sitting. There's Favreau and Downey, and both of them are holding Iron Man trade paperbacks and a Sharpie, and they asked for my autograph. It's the most surreal moment of my life. Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau are asking me for an autograph. Just showed you how weird life can be, guys.
I want to ask you, if Marvel Studio call you today to consult on the next Iron Man film, what advice will you give them?
Wow. Don't make it multi-dimensional. Yes. No more multiverse Iron Man, okay? I think that they're obviously at some point they'll recast, and then I think this whole thing that they're doing now is a reboot. So they're going to cast somebody, and I think again, always keep the emphasis on Tony Stark, but always think of the armor as a work in progress, and that it changes. I mean, I was the first guy to ever create variant armors for the thing, and it's like when we first did it, people lost their minds. It's like, well, some thought it was blasphemy, and other people thought it was really cool. Now that he changes it, like people change their underwear, So I would say always keep developing Tony as a character. That's the most important because that's who we care about. Like I live in Korea, and they love Iron Man in Korea because he's what they call triple. Triple is a term for captain of industry. Is like you want your daughter to marry him, and every guy wants to be him, right? That's Tony Stark. And that's why, like you said, I created my own role model. It's like I wanted, as a kid, a 15-year-old, I said he should be the coolest guy in the world. What kid would want to be Tony Stark, right? So always keep that the guy with obsessive compulsive behavior that's still lovable. That's a nice but fine line to walk, and a good writer can do that. So yeah, just get good writers on the next Iron Man thing.
So I want to ask a bit more about Valiant.
Really? Yeah. Did you actually watch BLOODSHOT?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I watched it.
Can I take this? Can I apologize now? Well, no, I was on the set, but we kind of, even on the set, I kind of knew that it was kind of not going to be great. But it did really well because it was the only movie that came out during COVID. But yeah, it's not a good movie, and I apologize for that. It's a shame the first Valiant movie wasn't better. But hey, who knows?
It's still in top 10. That's considered a win as well.
I'm stunned. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just stunned to hear that. But I get it. It's just Vin Diesel. Part of it is Vin Diesel has a global audience, okay? And it's so far removed from the actual comic. And as we were talking yesterday, when I came up with the character, it was like 1991. I read an article in Scientific American about theoretical application of nanites. And I thought,
wow, what an interesting way to make someone a superhero. You know, they're not bitten by a radioactive water buffalo or something. They become Buffalo Man. They, this is like a credible way to give somebody superpower. So I kind of reinvented the Frankenstein story with him. Now, the trouble is, in the time that has passed, the 30 years that have passed, nanites have become, they're in everything. They're in every sci-fi movie and all this kind of stuff. And I tried to explain to the producers, I said, this was the wrong character to do first, because we've seen this all before in other characters, but nobody listens, right? It's Hollywood. Nobody listens. So, yeah, the trouble is a lot of people saw it, and it seems a bit cliche because we've seen it all before. That's the trouble with waiting too long. They should have done Exo Man of War. Yes, exactly. With Iron Man being out of the way now, they could have launched an Exo Man of War movie, and it would have kicked butt. So, and who knows? Right now, all the Valiant stuff is at Paramount. They have I have no idea what they're doing with it. If they are doing something, they'll tell me.
Yeah. We're excited to know the next for Valiant. Because, like you said, you have Soul, you have Harbinger, you have a lot of characters other than the shot.
Archer and Armstrong. I think it's part of one of the things they, that I co-created with Barry Windsor-Smith. It's like that's that would be an obvious one, I think, and fun. Right now, I don't know. The whole superhero world is kind of in hold. I mean, fortunately, Superman did really well. I'm right now. One of the reasons I'm in Korea is the first foreign language DC movie, television show is being developed there, based on the Huntress, the character I created at DC before you were born. And it's like, and so this is something I've been pushing for years in Hollywood and with my own production company. Is that I wanted most of the stuff that's created by Hollywood is for Americans, but the world. If you land in a spaceship tomorrow, the world is an Asian Muslim world. Let's face it. If aliens were going to analyze it, it's like, okay, this is an Asian Muslim planet. Okay, it's like we got it. And I worked in the UAE for a while, trying to bring film and television there, and various other countries. But I want the material to appeal to the world, not just American audiences. You guys are very accepting of the stuff, but why couldn't you do a sci-fi movie with a Muslim lead character? They never do, right? Although that would represent 2/3 of the world. It's just, to me, it's James Gunn is very forward thinking. So he right now in development, they have a Huntress television series in the works. I think they've talked to Pom Clemente about having a role in it, right? And so once that actually goes into production or pre-production, I'm going to be involved in that, and my job will be to sell it to America, right? Because America doesn't like to read subtitles, right? But I'll convince them to do it, right? So that's why I'm kind of based right now in Korea.
So, because you say that Superman really success.
Yeah, $70 million is $700 million. I mean, is what I would call a successful film. Yeah.
So, out of all your character in Marvel or even Valiant, if you have a chance today, which one do you want to be in a movie that can connect with everyone in this generation?
Hercules. You know why? Because Guardians of the Galaxy was Hercules. I mean, that was basically the same tone and comedy and stuff that I did with my 3 Hercules miniseries and graphic novel. And I just think a space opera with an Olympian god and all the debauchery and weird stuff and things that go on would be absolutely hilarious, okay? And they have, like I said, Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor Ragnarok showed you that they can do that kind of tongue-in-cheek, space opera with the Norse god. So I would love to see Hercules adapted for a film.
Yeah, I think everyone in the media I saw are excited if Hercules get his own movie. Yeah.
Well, yeah, with the transvestite scroll and the recorder, and him flying around in space in a chariot, I think would be like way fun. Yeah.
So out of all of character again, which one do you think do you feel like unfinished business? If you have a chance, you want to keep continue out of all your characters. Yeah, unfinished business.
No, I don't think I do have unfinished business, to be honest with you, because it's like I've always attacked everything I've worked on with the same fashion. People say, "Well, you've got a favorite project." The favorite project's whatever I'm doing right now, and I've never just done okay, I did it for the money or whatever. It's strictly it you know. So I've been so fortunate. I mean, I've owned 2 comic book companies. I've got to work on every single Marvel character that I ever wanted to do. I've gotten to write Batman with one of the most famous Batman artists in the world. I mean, I've gotten to do so much. Worked with Marvel Studios, and I worked with other studios in Hollywood. I've had such incredible opportunities. Like I said, we were talking in the car. I've actually had an audience with the head of state in the UAE. It's like I had to learn to sit like this the whole time, though. I drink that really weak coffee. But I mean, how many comic book artists get a meeting with the head of state? It's like I've had a turned life, and there I am with you, wonderful people. And thank you so much for having me.
So thank you, Bob. Right now, I'm giving the mic to the media. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and I'll give you the mic.
Hi, Bob. I'm Brian from Passport. You had defined Tony Stark Iron Man in the comics, and now the character is basically a godfather in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. How do you feel about today's film industry and the way of comic book adaptation, especially seeing your works and characters influencing such a huge cultural phenomenon? So it basically makes you the godfather of the godfather. So how do you feel?
I'm the co-father of what? Marvel Studios?
Yeah.
Well, no, I got to tell you a really funny story. Jim Starlin, right, who created Thanos and Captain Marvel and all that stuff. There was a few years back, I think before COVID, where he and I were doing a panel on at a convention, and he leads over. He goes, "Do you realize between the two of us, we've created about 2/3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?" I'm like, "Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I have 18 credits in Marvel Productions." So yeah, he has a few more probably. It's like, yeah. How does it feel? Well, there's an interesting story how it all started. David Maisel, the founder of Marvel Studios. You can look him up, okay? From big producer, been around Hollywood for a lot of years. He's also my biggest fan. His office, he buys my original art. He has the actual original covers. He paid $75,000, $100,000 for these covers from the original book and stuff. And they're framing his walls. And I remember he said to me at one point, he said, and it's the best compliment I ever got. He said, there would never be a Marvel Studios if it wasn't for my love of your character. And I go, wow. I'm just like, wow, I was blown away by that. It's not true. But, I mean, it's the kindest thing anyone's ever said to me, in Hollywood anyway. But he said it was no coincidence that Iron Man was the first movie that they were going to do, because, again, it's also the most credible. All you have to do is believe that armor works. And the rest of the movie comes because it's about people. It's about characters. It's about Tony and that journey that he takes, from becoming selfish to becoming selfless, and it's like, that's the story, the character, and Hawk Osby, who wrote the screenplay, did an incredible job. And he said that he pretty much just read the stuff that David and I did, for the most part. He said that's the stuff that resonated with him. And he caught it, I think, brilliantly. Him and Mark Fergus caught it brilliantly. So, I mean, as a creator, I couldn't be more happy for the way it all started. I'm not really responsible for what happened now. But, it's like, and same with Ant-Man. I mean, I had Edgar Wright doing Ant-Man. Who could complain, about that? I mean, we're one of the most brilliant filmmakers, in the business right now. So, I mean, those contributions are really important, especially the ones where I get royalties. But I don't get any royalties for Iron Man, unfortunately, because it was pre-existing, right? But no, having done it, I mean, we would not be here right now if it wasn't for the Marvel Cinematic Universe making the characters that I helped create part of the lexicon of this whole business. And and for that I'm eternally grateful. Does that answer your question? Okay, yes, I see. Okay, great.
Hi, Bob. Thank you for coming down to Malaysia, making this long trip down to Malaysia.
It wasn't long. It's only 6 hours from Seoul.
Okay, well,
It's like LA to New York, man.
that's not too bad.
No, it's not bad. No. The food wasn't bad either on the plane. They fixed their menu.
Have you been eating well here?
No, I'm not eating at all because you people won't stop feeding me. I'm full constantly. I'm like that guy in Monty Python. Feel like Mr. Carizo.
We're just trying to give you enough so that you don't have to have more after your trip, right?
No, you're the most amazing, hospitable people in the world. Please do not give me food. All right? Just treat me like a gremlin.
First off, I do have to thank you for the Bloodshot film.
Well,
It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was
yeah.
fun.
we're going to have a class here about... No, I mean, it has its moments, definitely. My trouble is it's not a very clean adaptation of the character, what the intent was. I'm the creator. Kevin Van Hook and I created this character. It barely resembles it, okay? There are still great moments in it, and I had a blast on the set. Even though everyone there did not like Vin Diesel very much. But he's hard to work with. He's a bit of a diva. I won't lie to you. But so they were, and Kevin and I got there late, like last 2 weeks, so we were doing pickups, right? And people were really pissed off, But listen, I had a great time. I got to hang out with Asa Gonzalez and Sam Hoygan.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, great. They're really fun to hang out with or whatever, too. And Dave Wilson, the director, was terrific. There's a funny story about this too. We're flying all the way to South Africa, which is really hard. They don't have a lot of flights to Cape Town, right, from the United States. So I'm coming from LA. So I go to LA to New York, and New York to Cape Town, right? They lose my luggage.
Oh.
So we're staying on the outskirts of town. They got a private apartment for Kevin and I to stay in, and I only have what I'm wearing. We're not anywhere in the store. So for 5 days, I went back to the apartment, stripped down naked, washed my clothes, dried them, put them back on, and I'm running around. Kevin did not want to see me running around in a towel the whole time, right? So on day 6, my luggage finally shows up, right? That night, right? The night of day 5. So day 6, we have like a 7 a.m. call, right? And I walk onto the set, wearing different clothes, and I get a standing ovation from the crew. They're all like, "Yay!" He's wearing something different.
Oh, that is hilarious. But okay, I need to get to my question because sorry, I haven't asked the question yet. You've already had Bloodshot, Valiant comics coming onto the big screen, but early in the 2000s there was parts of Future Comics, some of their properties going onto the big screen as well, especially with.
How do you know that?
I do my research.
Wow.
Is there any update on that? And if
Oh
not,
no, it's dead. It's better.
dead.
Yeah,
Oh man.
oh, it's better than Tony Stark. Okay, and the movies, right?
But if there was one Future Comics property
Well,
you'd love to put on the big screen, what would it be?
I'll tell you, it was FREEMIND.
FREEMIND.
And here's why. David Heyman, who did the Harry Potter movies, was looking for another franchise after Harry Potter. And so they put me in touch with Heyday Productions. And so FREEMIND was in development for about a year. Then what happened was the guy the point man was this guy, Mark Rosen, who was the head of development for Heyday. He hooks up with Linda Opes and moves to Paramount. So they give us a choice: start over again with Heyday, or go with Mark Rosen and Linda Opes over to Paramount. Well, the trouble with Mark Rosen was he's like a train wreck. He was like an accident waiting to happen. And they brought in a bunch of writers who did not understand the character at all. And by the time we had gotten around to the first year, we had a director and we had a writer. Dante Harper, who was a great writer. We had a great director. But the trouble was we had picked up 6 executive producers along the way. Because they're like parasites in Hollywood, right? Anybody has anything to do with the project. And what happened was there's a war broke out between 2 of the executive producers. And finally, the writer and the director walked away. They just said, "I can't work with these guys," boom, and the whole project just fell apart. That's a very typical story. When I was in Hollywood, when I worked there for the 8 or 9 years I worked there, I wrote 6 movies. They all got sold. None of them ever got made. It's a miracle anything gets made. So I guess the fact that Bloodshot exists is like a minor miracle in itself.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, my name is Ija from MCU Network Malaysia. So my question is, because you are the comic book writer, right? So I would like to ask you, what is your favorite current comic book writer? Your opinion?
My favorite comic book writer?
Current.
Oh,
Yes.
I wouldn't know. No, see, here's the thing: is like, don't suck the air out of the room when I say this. Okay, please don't turn this into a vacuum. I don't collect or read comics. I never have since I was a kid. When I got into the business, my mentor said, if you're going to contribute anything and make this a long-lasting career, you have to get your influences from the outside world. You can't be regurgitating the same stuff you read all the time. So I got rid of my comic book collection when I became an apprentice. I became an American football fan. I became a sports fan. So, when I was writing comics or whatever, the editors would provide me with any information I needed on other books or things of that nature. But I don't have a comic book collection or read comics or whatever, because the reason why we're celebrating 50 years in the business is because my mentor, the great Dick Giordano, was absolutely right. That I pulled Bloodshot from Scientific American. I pulled Demon in a Bottle from the headlines of the Betty Ford Clinic opening in California. It's the things that I brought from the outside world that has caused my career to last 50 years. So, who's my favorite writer? Oh my God, Archie Goodwin, without a doubt. All right, Archie Goodwin's the greatest writer ever wrote comics. Alan Moore, easy second, right? After that, me. No, no. I mean, there are a lot of great writers. But right now, no, I don't read comics. I'm a seller, not a buyer. I'm here to basically get you to go out and buy comics. I don't buy them. Again, because it's my job, not my hobby. And I've always treated it that way. And I know some people are disappointed by that. But if you've enjoyed my work, it's because of that. And I keep trying to bring something to Future Comics was me trying to do something new on a business level with the industry. I'm always trying and risking at times to make this a better thing for all of you. So forgive me if I'm not up to date with all this stuff. But then I'm surrounded by a bunch of young people, even in Korea, who will tell me whatever I need to know. All right. And my daughter made me watch K-pop Demon Hunter. Okay, so I'm not totally out of it. All right. Although she can't hit that high note in gold. Oh, even with auto tune, it's still.
Hello, Bob.
Hey, how
I'm at the back here.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so this is actually a question from my friend who couldn't come here, unfortunately, but he's such a huge fan of yours.
Well, call him. Put him on the phone.
Oh no, he's like currently busy. That's why he has some stuff going on, so he cannot come. So following the question is like following the success of Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. did a very great job in being Iron Man himself, because when people see him as Iron Man. Okay, if Robert Downey Jr. is not in the choice list, he's not in the list for you to cast, who would you cast as Iron Man besides
that's a
Robert?
great question.
Yeah.
Well, no, because time period. Let me preface this by saying, when I finally met RJ, right, and he was very concerned about how I felt about his performance, and I told him the truth. I said, when you were originally cast, I thought you were too old, because I said, Tony was a child prodigy, so I always portrayed him in the comics of being in his early 30s, right? And Downey was 45, I think, when he started, right, or something like that. But when I saw the first dailies, before I ever met him, it's just, oh my God, he ate up the screen. I mean, he was so Tony Stark. And the crazy thing is, Marvel didn't want him originally either, because of his past behavior. He couldn't get insurance. So, because they have to insure the lead actors in case something happens on the set or whatever like that. And he's did 2 stints in federal prison, right? I mean, let's face it, he was the world's most famous drunk. So Favreau actually put up the bond on him out of his own money. Favreau was such a believer that he was the right guy for that. Now, looking at actors now, who would I get? I'd have to think about it, because I don't think in those terms, by the way, because I think actors are interchangeable a lot. I mean, there are certain actors born to play certain roles, but any good actor can play any good role. I mean, so who's around? I mean, who do you think? I mean, seriously.
I mean, because
Don't say Tom Cruise, or I'll come across there.
Okay, it's not Tom Cruise.
I'll physically attack you. Okay,
it's not Tom Cruise, because this question is for my friend. Because for me personally, I really like RDJ as Iron Man. I cannot think of someone else.
Yeah, but let's face it, he's a little long in the tooth now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's fine. I'm not even thrilled about him being Doctor Doom, to be honest with you. But I understand why they did it, because they were desperate. But yeah, they needed him to come back and save the franchise. That happens. But there, I think there's a million really good character actors. Why couldn't Liam Neeson play Doctor Doom? Okay, he's never done a Marvel movie, right? I mean, yeah, right. What I'm saying is like, but as far as them recasting Tony Stark. First of all, I hope they keep him the same gender. Marvel likes to change genders a lot. And I didn't mind it with the Ghost so much, okay? Because it was a gender non-specific character. I mean, the Ghost was supposed to be mysterious anyway. And Hannah did a great job. I love her, and she smells great. But current actors out there now, that are young enough to play Tony for another 10 years, I'd have to give that some thought, but I think any competent actor could probably do that. Let's think, Henry Cavill could do it, he's a good looking guy, right? Yeah, he's not too old, right? I mean, but there's a bunch of guys out there, I'm sure, that could, but we'll just see, that's something I don't spend a lot of time thinking about, to be honest with you. I mean, if you work in Hollywood long enough, actors just give you a headache anyway.
All right. Okay, thank you so much, Mal.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
So we agree, Robert Downey Jr. is one of the kind.
Well, he was definitely born to play that character, without a doubt. Yeah, there are certain actors who are born for certain roles. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, and since then, you see him in other roles, you still kind of think of him as Tony Stark, don't you? Yes. Yeah, that's part of the problem, So, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was definitely the right guy. Hey, Kevin, what's up, man?
Hi, good thanks. Good to see you in person.
I'm having a blast, man. How about you?
Right, good thanks. I'm one of the new comic collectors recently,
Okay.
so you're doing a good job.
Don't blame me.
I'm
All right,
doing it.
go ahead, though.
You're adding to
Expensive
it.
hobby, but don't blame me, all right?
Yeah.
All right.
I have a pressing question. 2 questions, if I may. First one is, sorry, I hope it's not political, but in the world today, who would you think would be closest to being a Tony Stark? A real.
It's not Elon Musk, that's for damn.
Hey, why not? Why not?
Chainsaw wielding crazy person. God, I don't know. I don't know if that. See, the wonderful thing about fiction is we would like to think that the captains of industry are benevolent, right? And that they have our best interests in mind. I mean, you think about the guys who are Tremol, or the guys who are these incredibly wealthy industrialists, but they don't really have Tony's charm or everything. They weren't child prodigies necessarily, but I don't really think there is. I mean, you think about Bill Gates. One of the things Bill Gates is doing, at least, is he's using his money now to help third world countries, impoverished countries, with clean water and with vaccines and things of that nature. So I mean, that's way more benevolent than Tony would be. Actually, Tony would just create technology to help them, But I'm saying yes. I mean, there are guys doing wonderful things. I guess Bill Gates, if he was better looking, maybe. and younger. But yeah, there are guys out there that are doing great stuff.
Cool. And one last question. What's a burning question you would like people to ask you?
Burning question that I would like people to ask. What would I have done if I hadn't got into comics? It's really easy, baby. Rock and roll.
Thanks, God.
No, I had a band at Valiant. People don't know that. I actually had a rock and roll band. You can actually see it if you go to YouTube and look up Bob Layton's 40th birthday celebration. Look at part 4, and there's me and my band playing. These are all Valiant employees. What I did to bond with my employees is on Tuesday nights, I went out and I rented a sound studio on 7th Avenue. And because I found out a lot of cartoonists are also musical. And so we would have an open mic jam night for all the employees of Valiant if they wanted to come and play. And we kind of formed a band, and we played at birthday parties and things of that nature or whatever. And it's like, had I not been totally devoted to my craft or whatever, I might have pursued that at some point, being a singer-songwriter or some kind of thing like that. I've since given it up, But I also love cooking, so I might have become a chef too. Except then my clothes would smell all the time.
So hi, my name's Ian from Cinemagic.
Hey Ian, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm not hungry. I know that's a question most of you guys ask me immediately.
All right. So my question is, okay, you did mention earlier, right, that you don't really read comic books, right? Like you rarely read comic books. So I would like to ask, like, we know that one of your most famous comic issues would be the Iron Man Demon in a Bottle.
Right.
Right. All right. So were there like any inspirations behind it? On like how you wrote that issue, or probably how you visualized that comic?
That's a real good question.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. So that's my question.
I had alcoholism in my family. All right, generations of it. So it was always an issue with me. I personally don't drink at all. All right, but it was that's a great the Muslim country. Yeah, that's not exactly like high praise because who does drink, right? But no. So it was something that was very personal for me, and that's the first step of any good writer is to write what you know, right? The other thing, of course, was now people think that comics are innovative, and I beg to differ. Right? To me, comics are a mirror. Comics reflect what's going on in the world around us. I mean, you think one of your favorite stories was Days of Future Past and the X-Men. Well, that was because the Terminator was the #1 movie in America, right? The Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So that kind of story was resonating with the public. They loved that kind of stuff. When we did Demon in a Bottle, America had just opened up the Betty Ford Clinic, and as I mentioned earlier, and they were talking openly about alcoholism and substance abuse for the first time. And before then, it was all kept quiet, right? And it seemed like a great mirror, a thing to reflect, and Tony being the perfect character to reflect that. So, yeah, I think comics always show us what world we're living in, not, necessarily where we're creating something that you've never seen before. It's more like seeing it through different eyes, through a different lens. So that's just my take on it. Stan would always say, when somebody flies, it should be a big deal. Because when did you ever see anyone fly? Anyone ever see an actual fly? I mean, just take off? Because we'd all sit there with wet pants, right? If we saw somebody go fly. If anybody goes into space, it should be a big deal. That's why I created a whole armor and a whole episode just to get Tony Stark into outer space. I made a big deal out of it. And that's the thing, because we need those other characters, those normal people in this thing, to react as normal people. And that's how we can relate to when they do the fantastic. They kind of lost sight of that, because in the movies, everybody's a mutant or a robot or an alien or something now. And it's like we need to have those normal people so we can relate to that world.
And to keep the universe grounded.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So get out of the multiverse, okay, guys? I just like to say that I want to thank everybody for coming to, 50 years in the industry and being able to create history so many times, but it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for all of you. Wherever I go in the world, there's this wonderful groups of fans who are always supportive, and through the years you've been there, and your fathers have been there, and and maybe your grandfathers. But thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. It's been a wonderful 50 years. I wish I had 50 more to give you.
Sekiranya anda enjoy menonton video ini, jangan lupa untuk like, share dan subscribe kepada Buzz Pop TV. Untuk lebih banyak video-video yang berkaitan dengan pop culture daripada komik, TV, filem, mainan dan juga banyak lagi. Majulah fandom untuk negara.